My private crisis is this winter, because it's too cold. It doesn't convince me. So I don't feel it. I don't feel it. You know, can we stop? Stop. I have a lot of other problems, my personal problems, private. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced when something is like everybody's talking about but never see it. It's like a balloon manifesting, protesting, never see it. Yeah, if I see that things will be directly affecting my situation, probably I will be more concerned about this. But I'm not convinced that about really where is the problem, about what they protest, You can find information from different sources. It will be hard, to live, to survive, because we will not develop. I don't have relationship with nobody. Find someone will be easier. I don't know, I'm just it's -10, so this is my thoughts about this.
I think affect. No, I think it wouldn't really affect us. Fight already. So maybe it will be a little bit harder. The fight will be more intense. I don't think it will make us like unstable or like no. I don't think so. So I wonder how the crisis will affect my relationship with my boyfriend. Will we still decided to have a baby, for example, or we'll decide to postpone it, have fun at home, to count money for tomorrow. More difficult only because I will, be afraid. Stupid, sorry. But I don't worry, fucking hell. Because I really have to concentrate, because I really don't worry about it. So
No. No. No, I will maybe spend less while I'm trying to distress, but no way that no, I don't think so. I will not stay at home like waiting for the something. No, it's really depressing. I cannot understand when people are staying at home and do not have anything to do, act like they are okay, everything is fine. I was a little bit like that last year. I was really in a panic mood, trying to find a little job to find a way to pay my rent and things like that. It doesn't bring you enough distance to make the right decision you need and what you want to do. Now, yes, but it's not because of the crisis. The crisis put me in a difficult situation. And it took me a while to reconstruct, to realize what I really wanted to follow. I'm not sure that it's really because of the crisis. No, this is not something I will do. No, it means nothing. I don't know if something would happen that in every country in Europe at the same moment, everybody was losing the money and the capacity to pay with cash. In every country, it would be something different. That's something that from where we will see European culture Unterschied. That would be really fun.
Kryzys to stan permanentny, ciągły. Trwając na różnych płaszczyznach. Ja widzę tylko przerwy w kryzysie, jakieś takie krótkie momenty prosperity albo sygnalizowane doniesieniami, że koniunktura się polepszyła, sprzedaż samochodów wzrosła, ktoś zrobił wystawę, na którą przyszło 1000 osób. I tylko takie doniesienia przerywają stan kryzysu, ciągłej, permanentnej sytuacji. Chciałem powiedzieć, że taki stan niebezpieczeństwa i zagrożenia może przysłużyć się wielu artystom. Wiesz, no, wielu artystów żyje w takim stanie niezależnie od okoliczności, od sytuacji gospodarczej.
I Markę liczbą X, świetnym Jezus nie przeżoną. Milions dní, wo jag minns det också, då jag minns det är som kan jag se sig just fast vi jobbar din jag hjälp för jag skulle pjäd vi just kan ju också andra så kan man gast så kristal upp och jag har men jag bez doch nie może powiedzieć przecież nie mogę się mieć czy to sprawy works też dobra też czuję przy nim jak właśnie my nowy mój boks się bierze się Nie, czy to czy coś usnął, byłem że to gadam głową taniowym wyjdę, że śpi. To nie obiedwan że śpny. Przy tych może jak sznurda, oksyjnie go ślało, to ma wisiesz, my wiecie, nie mu obasz, że dwa metry z chwilą bajka trzenia będzie, że go co znaczyło, to już powiedziała, że nas nie czyta. Na przykład jak po co mamy tylko związek z tego wstępie wyżej z tego i może ile jest używanego ślawa to już piśkaj, a tak nie okaże się że to jest on. O, to właśnie jest właśnie no die Kreativität. Bo bez już to ich chcę czy to jest na siebie start nie chcę będzie się man.
I mean, one question is when you feel when the crisis come. You are satisfied with your life, with everything what is happening. Even if there is no crisis, then can be very unhappy. So sometimes I feel that maybe it will be like sort of
touching reality.
Like through crisis
Because it's real.
In such a basic way, it influences your life. It can change it. Or change your attitude to different things. I mean, economical crisis that touches whole society. So it changes social life. I mean, it can, of course, because you simply lose your job or you can't do what you were trained to do, for example, what you
would like to do. So that can be very dramatic. I think dramatic. And I don't feel now, for example, that I'm doing what I would like to do perfectly. I'm doing different things which are simply for living. What I would like to do
simply for living, for example.
Well, you can see it very, from one point on, you can see it very directly in your everyday life. I think things that we take for granted, being in some kind of European community, you lose them right away, even if it's just consumer things. It's more difficult to keep your apartment, it's more difficult to have a mobile phone, it's more difficult to be able to buy things that you take for granted. That's the first step, and then everything else starts to become bankrupt also. Social relations. Too dramatic, but somehow you have a feeling that Athens now is maybe what it was in Germany before the war, right before the war. See in Athens people lining up 300 and 400 people for a soup kitchen, or people getting stuff out of the garbage. It's in a state of bankruptcy it's very difficult to plan things. During the crisis, during this time, it seems like as a society the whole thing is going more and more into decadence, sexually, erotically. I don't know. It's like having drinks on the Titanic. There's a lot of Greek artists that are doing work outside of Greece because they use the term crisis. It's an advertising thing. It can be an advertising thing. But I don't know that really. I mean, you might make a movie about the crisis because you are inherently interested in hearing opinions about the crisis, and that's okay. What we read in the newspaper and the official media, that they say, well, that Greece is the beginning, and then it's Portugal and Spain and Italy, and slowly it comes to Germany. I'm kind of hoping that this will happen. It has to happen in a way. If anything might change, and even if this change is just us having the possibility of having new ideas, society or European or Europe might be governed, it has to happen through a major, major crisis. And I think it will happen anyway, so I'm looking forward to it. That sounds cruel and cynical. I think if it's so important for you or for me to be able to travel around Europe and work in a free Europe, then we have to come up with an idea of what a free Europe is. And I don't think the European Union is something that covers this thing right now. Internet media or internet communication is the only way to have communications that's outside of big media. And big media is just, it's untrue.
I really don't care too much about it, but I don't know. I think one of the biggest problems of the crisis is that it feeds itself with information, and it's like I don't know, like gets bigger. It's like a snowball, you know. If everybody knows there's crisis, everybody's gonna have more fear, and it's like that. And when I was working as an engineer before, we were doing really good in the company I was, but everybody was like, "There's a crisis, and it was like, "Why do you say there's a crisis? For us, it's okay, you know." And so they took measures because of that, just because what everybody was saying was that there was a crisis. So it's like, okay, you have to look at yourself before, and then you put yourself in relation with the crisis. I don't know. I think they will, depends on the country, but I think they will celebrate more. I don't know why. That's happening in Spain, in the places I went. Well, it's kind of extreme. There's some people that just go really down and never go out again. And I think, but most of my friends are really like experiencing a new youthness. I don't know. Youth. Personal opportunities. Wow, I don't know. I never thought about that. Yeah, well, the other day I was kind of drunk and we were... I mean, yeah, you can come up with ideas and say, maybe that could change a little bit my kind of living, but I don't know. It's not an important thing for me. What would I do? I will steal. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I do that still, but yeah, I think there are some kind of things that you shouldn't pay so much for. And with my friends, it's happening to me like a strange thing. It's like the ones that are getting really unaware of the crisis, that doesn't affect them, they're really going away, like sailing to another land. I mean, there's something that unites the people that are suffering the crisis, that for sure. But there's not so much as we're in the same boat. It's like the others are going away.
I mean, in a personal perspective, as I'm living here in Berlin, I can't really say I feel it in reality, but I mean, from my family, for example, or my friends that still live in Portugal, it's really a common subject. I mean, my parents, they work for the state. If you have cutbacks and pensions that are being removed, then of course you are feeling that your salary is not worth the same because you're paying more taxes. Portugal has a very fragile economy. This is a rotten apple. The euro itself, will it last? Will it not last? Will it survive this year? There's no big thing that I can actually do more than reading and reflecting about it. I sent to my parents and my close friends and some ideas, taking your money out of Portugal and putting it in places where it will not going back to their old currency and having a massive devaluation, which is a possible scenario. You can blame anybody for the crisis. In the end, common people, they will suffer more than what they are responsible for it. In my work, creation of new things, of new solutions, even if it's a financial crisis, it affects people personally. It's much more about poor getting poorer, rich may get a bit poorer, but I mean, it's really not comparable. if you can't eat because of the crisis or if you are receiving less. I regard myself as an optimist. Consider a moment of crisis for the creation of the new ideas for the what will follow. That only happens if you have a crisis, because you only really have the need for these new structural ideas if the structure before is not functioning. We don't have such a fragile situation as Argentina or Asian countries had. Economy from Europe is much more stable. It affects people, and for example in Japan a lot of people committed suicide. I really think it's very positive, all these movements that are happening, direct democracy and popular democracy. Why is it so far apart from us?
Keine Ahnung, in gewisser Art und Weise müssen wir da wahrscheinlich irgendwie durch. Also es wird einigen Ländern dann halt schlechter gehen für eine Zeit lang, aber insgesamt würde es praktisch allen Staaten besser gehen. Also ich glaub daran. Wenn ich mir anschaue, dass wenn ich hart arbeite für 5 Euro die Stunde oder 3,50 oder 8,50 im gleichen Schritt dann aber auch arbeiten könnte für 50 Euro die Stunde oder 500 Euro, oder ob man eine Investition, einen Videorekorder abarbeitet, der 5.000 Euro gekostet hat, oder an einer Idee, die dann halt auf einmal 500.000 Euro wert ist, oder eine Idee, die ausgearbeitet wurde, sodass sie 10 Millionen Euro wert ist und dann auf einmal 150 Euro aufs Konto bringt. Und einen Moment vorher hat man noch für 5 Euro bezahlt. Ich glaube, es ist alles sehr relativ. Das ist auch tatsächlich die schönste Gesellschaftsform, die es gibt, die auf Geld basiert. Ich würde mir allerdings vorstellen, wie wäre es denn, wenn alle Menschen auf dieser Welt genug Geld hätten? Dass halt einfach jeder, der hart arbeitet, auch viel Geld bekommt. Oder aber, und der Gedanke ist auch meiner Meinung nach echt gut, dass jeder halt einfach genug Geld hat auch.
Like what? Yes, buying jewelry or making those secret holes in the floor in my apartment to put the gold items that in case of a crisis will be exchangeable. You know, the Second World War, especially in Poland, gave us a lesson that possessing money or gold or anything does not really save you. It's not the guarantee of what can happen. I think it's totally beyond our imagination. It's beyond our imagination, because as what is happening now with, for example, with ACTA document shows us that a lot of people they are defining their freedom by what they can do in virtual reality. The internet is extremely important image of crisis devastating our reality. It will have to affect existence of internet, right? So those gold teeth and this attributes of
are from different epoch.
Yes, totally. The crisis from our imagination, that we are fear of it, or we are hoping that it will come and sweep away the existing system and reality, and we can then replace it with something that will be able to invent, because it has not affected me yet. I didn't lose my job. I'm not from the small town. Yeah, I'm not affected by it. I do not have to think about it in another than just an intellectual way. Of course, I'm not prepared. So far, it's just an intellectual exercise.
Maybe I don't really like artists which switch, into political subject if there are something happening in politics. There are no one can say what will happen in 2 years. No one can say that. Thousands of people, everybody talk about it, the end of Europe, the end of euro currency. This can happen now, so in a minute even. So I always fight with my finances and my work, and I think this will not change. it's not real. What is real is just one person, suffering. One person, losing job. We are actually one of the most conservative country. So I don't really think this kind of bankruptcy will happen in Poland. I think that we keep control. And do you think we will have bankruptcy? Will bankrupt? State bankruptcy. Total state bankruptcy. I'm not prepared, for telling everything, and I'm not prepared for having a speech about it. But, for example, Indians listened to the earth, when they tried to understand what trees think, which will be, which means total change, because now we have, for example, Ministry of Justice or Ministry of Finance, and we have buildings, But imagine how flowers can work there. They cannot work in the ministry buildings. Now we have the end of capitalism, and after capitalism we'll have a global war, global terror, global ecological terror, what I told you, This is the solution. We'll leave cities and be back to the forest and to the caves. I don't know if cavemen had a crisis. We'll be back in the future, we'll be back in the cave. The crisis is just, we will miss the crisis. Oh, what a beautiful time we had crisis.